And sometimes people ask questions about it and I answer it.
Very good over there.
So was that a?
We're live from Longview here with Heidi Zimmerman, owner and operator of Pacific Country Homes. Welcome, Heidi, to Lynn's Ice Cream and Yogurt Shop
Hello, thank you for having me.
and to Live from Longview. Okay, what was the main reason for you starting to be an owner of an adult foster home for the elderly?
Well, I started being a caregiver back in '97, and soulfully to why I became a caregiver was because I have a handicapped brother, so I wanted to get into elderly to take care of them because I've always known how to take care of children since I have 6 of them as well. But that got me into working at the nursing home in '97. So I started working at the nursing home in '97. Stayed there for about a year and a half at the Frontier, and then I did in-home care for about 2 years, and then I ended up finding the adult family home that I own now that I started working for back in 1999, and I've been there ever since.
So you're doing great.
Thank you. 2 years, and then I ended up finding the adult family home that I own now that I started working for back in 1999, and I've been there ever since.
So you're doing great.
Thank you.
Do you and other adult foster homes in your group share ideas to help each other at dealing with issues that arise concerning a patient's care?
Yeah, we meet every Tuesday at a coffee shop. There's 11 adult family homes that are in my group, and we're called Things. And so there's a website and a phone number for them to get a hold of each one of our homes to see what home fits their family member. So some might like the location of the home. Some people might like the room better. They might like the clientele better. They might like that it's all women, or some like that it's half and half. Some people just like, again, the location. Some people live out on Lexington, so they might choose those homes. Some people live out on Pacific Way, so they might choose 5 other adult family homes that are in that area just by location. Sometimes it's the feel, but that way they have a lot of homes to go check out and see which one makes a good fit for each one of them.
Some probably like the atmosphere.
Exactly.
When they walk in there.
Exactly. And we meet, like I said, every Tuesday, and we talk about residents. We talk about WACs and policies. We talk about, doing things differently with nutrition or meals or ordering supplies. We talk about our caregivers and how to improve them or make things better on that. So we try our best just to keep the adult family homes a better setting than a nursing home.
And I know you cook home cooked meals.
We do home cooked meals.
The miners.
If we have to do a quick meal, real quickly or not, but we try our best to do, scalloped potatoes, more homemade, since Laurel does some wonderful ones.
Thank you.
But sometimes we do make the box ones if we're in a predicament where we need, the care to come first than the meal.
And I know you do wonderful care.
Well, thank you, as you provided as well.
So thank you. And it can be stressful at times.
By all means, yes.
But I would rather work in an adult foster home than I would a nursing home, because I feel like we can give them better care. It's more one-on-one.
It is. The ratios differently. You can be more personable. You get to know their demeanors, their quirks, just face expressions a lot better because you're with them consistently versus just treating them like a room member.
Yeah.
So you know what they want sometimes before they even ask for it, because we're so more intimate and we're more a smaller setting, which makes a difference.
And I enjoy doing it.
Me too. I mean, we've all, obviously, you and I both experienced in-home. We've done nursing home. We've done nursing home, adult family home. Assisted living is more or less the village you're in, huh?
Yeah.
I've never done assisted living before, but you have. Yeah, it all.
And I've even taken care of people that knew relatives of mine.
Yes. Caregiving is caregiving. Obviously, we do it for.
It doesn't change.
It doesn't change no matter what atmosphere you're in.
Nope.
But the atmosphere does make it better, usually, and sometimes you can make it better no matter where you're working too.
Exactly.
And you try to come down to the patient's level.
Exactly, no matter what, yeah.
You gotta remember you're taking care of people.
Yeah.
Not just this is a body and I leave your room.
Yep.
They want to give them,
Exactly.
I mean, I have my hair done a certain way.
Exactly. Yep. Very true.
Because some care about how they look. you know?
Yep.
They may not care if they take their pills or eat their food, but they care
Right.
about how they look.
Right. Even though we're there to make sure that they have all that done, because they might not do it themselves. But you're right, their ambiance comes on too, as a factor of caregiving.
Yeah. Ask them, what would you like to wear?
Yeah.
Which I do with one lady. I'll grab some. You like this?
Yeah.
Sure.
Give her the option.
Give them the choice.
Yeah.
They might not answer you right away, but they will give you an
Or you might,
answer.
or you might offer them, well, would you like to do this now? If they say no, you just kind of walk away and then you go back and you ask them the same question, maybe differently.
Yep.
And then they'll say yes.
Yep. Reapproach.
Every time.
Exactly.
And some like it if you're funny or giddy. And some like it if you're serious.
Exactly. Yes. Definitely, adult family homes are better than nursing homes, even though nursing homes are there for reasonings behind it, and the nursing homes are needed, but just the ratio is a lot better. We can do range of motion, we can do PT, physical therapy. Nursing homes just like to, do it once a day and then put them in a wheelchair so they're not considered a fall risk, and then they pedal around all day. So where we'd get them up more often, 5 times throughout the day, keeping their physical attributes still going. So I know we are just a lot more better setting all the way around, from the meals to their own rooms.
Well, and for the
their own
future, do you think
bathrooms.
there's going to be more adult?
No, those are way.
I do. Yes. There's going to be a lot, yes. And hopefully that will be a better statistics all the way around. Just people need to know more about us other than thinking just assisted livings are a way to go. Because assisted livings, they want you to still be very independent, but still rate you of their fees to be in our apartment setting.
Yeah.
Where our adult family home, everything's included in the fee with the 24-hour awake care, 24-hour care, not just when they need it,
But they don't.
and then everything's paid for. It's not like we're charging extra to vacuum the room or extra for a Band-Aid or extra for the meal or an extra for the room. Everything's included in that price.
Or for hairdressing?
Or a hairdresser. Well, that is extra. It's not
Yeah.
included in our rent, but it's something that we can find to make that happen. And then we have all the, referrals that can be sent out to us, for PT and OT and in-home doctors now that we can have. So it makes it nice. They can be in a home-like setting, but not be in their own home.
Kind of like their home away from home.
Exactly. It's pretty much our home away from home.
Yes.
We're there just
Sometimes you
as
feel like
much,
you
if
live
not
there.
more. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
That's why I used to feel at nursing homes. Do I live here?
Especially in nursing homes.
Is my bed ready? And I've been a caregiver, a CNA, 35 years this month.
It's a long time. Me, 22 years. 25 if you bring up being volunteering and stuff at the Park Royal back when we were 16. But to actually where I got a job, it's been 22 years exactly.
Well, I was even like a caregiver when I was a foster kid. We had a foster mom that had arthritis, and we had to help her start her car. She had the old Rambler that you did the push button with.
Wow.
And I think Lynn back there should remember this. The push button Rambler.
I don't know who it is.
You remember the push button Rambler car? Anyway, she had arthritis. We even helped her get dressed. And she was our foster mom.
I know.
Someone go, why would they do that?
Well-
I caught on right away when she was a foster mother, and that's kind of like how I got involved in or interested in caregiving is I took care of my grandpa when he got sick
Same did I with my grandma.
when I was little.
Yeah, my grandma was 93 and my grandpa was 96. So I remember taking care of them. That's when I first met my husband, Corey, when I was 14, is back in 93.
Well, you've been together a long
Yes,
time.
we have. 25 years, married 20.
Wow.
Wow.
6 kids later.
You guys been busy.
6 kids. And what?
You guys been busy.
We It only takes that one
Taking
time
care of
literally
life.
between those 2-3 years.
Oh, I know.
So yes,
But I mean, you guys have been busy growing and
growing and
building a good life, and you got a good business going.
yes, we do. Worked
Some-
hard, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, sometimes there's stress, sometimes you fret, but everything's okay, you know.
It works
Things can
out.
always use improving. I mean, sure, I could improve it along things.
Well, so
I had
can I.
perfect.
So can
I could have the perfect hair.
Of course, right? Oh, yeah, and you always, everybody wants something that somebody else's has, or, you know, I could turn around and say I like somebody else's hair better than mine. So that's just,
I figured anymore, it's just me. You love me or hate me, it's your choice. I mean, I'm
You got
missing
it.
a few teeth, whatever. You know.
who cares?
I told a guy that why you don't smile, so I smiled and started laughing.
No, but who you are inside is what counts.
Yep.
Yep.
Rock solid.
Yep.
So most of the Del Foster homes have 6 patients.
Yes, only can house up to 6. They were gonna pass the state legislature, and they're still fighting to do it, to where we can't take 8. So they might pass it. So if they do, then the homes will have to have sprinkler systems.
So have you thought about opening up another home?
You wouldn't have to open up another one. You could be able to house 6, but then they would room together. I wouldn't want that as an option, so you would have to build on to make that happen.
I know
if you
somebody
wanted
could have a
to, but-
roommate.
I wouldn't want another home
No.
with another 6.
No.
Yeah, but you can, but it's not right now passed, so I don't know, it could take another 2
Would
years.
you want to have 8 patients?
Not realistically, no, I think 6 is enough for one person. So I think you would have to have 2 on staff, and that could either get hairy or it could be a good
I
thing.
had someone ask me, do you have that one to put in their relative? They go, so do you have a nurse that works there? I go, no, we are delegated by a nurse to do certain nursing tasks.
Yes,
And the ones that we can't do, we call the doctor or
Yes.
the nurse delegator, and she tells us how to do stuff.
yes. We do have a 24-hour nurse that we can go to though, because Amanda Burgoyne is available to us at any given time, whether the residents are delegated or not. But they're only the ones that they're delegated that she can actually do verbal orders to for that resident for the reason why they're even delegated.
Mhm.
The other residents, if they're coherent enough, they don't need to be delegated because it'd be like if they're in their own home taking their own meds.
Yeah.
So it's the only ones that are usually that have dementia or they can't literally give themselves injections or their eye drops or anything that's considered invasive,
Yeah.
which means you're chemically putting it into their body.
Mhm.
So we're protected underneath the nurses. Like, so a nurse doesn't have to be on staff.
Mhm.
So then if you had a nurse on staff,
Mhm.
instead of paying $5,000, you'd be paying $8,000 like a nursing home charges. So to not have a nurse be on staff 24/7, but you're getting better one-on-one care,
Mhm.
I'd rather pay $5,000 than $8,000 to be in a nursing home and not even have your own room either.
Yeah,
So you'd have to share a room and pay still $8,000.
I'd rather pay the 5,000.
Me too.
I would too.
But when I'm a patient, look out, caregivers.
Hey, paybacks.
Yeah. Well, if you ever take care of a nurse or pharmacist, it's interesting. I had a pharmacist patient once. It was interesting. She says, "You're going to give me this pill, and I'm going to be out like a light." And 10 minutes later, I'm going to be up. She was right.
They can be
She
on
had
the thing now,
dementia, but she knew.
she knew her stuff.
I'm in pain. I need this medicine. She knew everything.
She knew
all the
everything.
pills.
They always go back to that 30 years prior, so sometimes that is as vivid to them as it was yesterday.
Yeah, I took care of an RN. That was interesting.
It can be.
Where are you going to stick that Band-Aid? I don't know.
Just on your arm, ma'am, just on your arm.
Yeah. But she was a sweetheart.
Now, enemas, you never know.
But we can't do that anymore.
No.
And we used to be able to.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you are able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still do straight catheters too, and be delegated for it. We just can't leave dwelling catheters in. The ones that stay in that dwell. Yeah, we can do clean catches still, be delegated
okay.
for that.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah. Maybe your questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Heidi?
Not that I can think of. I think we pretty much nailed it on what adult family homes
Yeah.
are, and that we usually house 6 of them, and
Uh-huh.
most of them all have their own bedrooms and bathrooms. Some of them still room, and some of them, the old school ones that were homes that providers used to live in. That's what adult family homes first started, was adult family home owners used to live in them, and then they were considered adult family homes at that time.
Okay.
Where now they're more facilitized, which I don't like that either, because I want to run my home like a home, but I also want it to be professional. But when they facilitize it, it's more like, I mean, it's obviously ran like a business, but it's more, you know, like a nursing home, you know, which we still do the vitals, we still weigh them, we still, you know, check and monitor their input and outputs. So we still do everything that a nursing home would do. But at the same time, it's more a home. So, and that's where the adult family home.
Yeah, when people say, is this a facility? I'm like, no, this is their home.
Yes.
And the meals are probably better too than the facility.
I've heard about the meals at facility, never mind.
And, you know, granted, you know, when it comes to like, you know, if you have your same staffing for a long time, I mean, I had to learn how to cook when I started working there when I was 21. You know, I mean, in that home, I was 21. I'm 40 now. So I still learned a lot from cooking there and following recipes and learning as I went. So she might make something better than I would make there, but that doesn't mean the meal or the home's bad for it. It's just the cook might need to be a little bit more, you know.
Instead of sandpaper macaroons.
Exactly. It's just that they have to get better as they cook, and sometimes that can
Now some of the
take a while
girls
to
don't
get
mind
better.
me giving them suggestions on how something would like to be fixed. Like
Exactly.
one time someone made too little of a meal. I'm like, you guys
Right.
either make it too small or too huge.
Right, and if you make it too big, at least we can freeze it or use it for leftovers for
Well,
something.
pasta can't
But when
really
you make it
freeze,
too
it's kind of
small, then there's not
kind
enough
of
to go
black.
around. You're right.
You probably have a lot of them that are diabetic.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we try to separate cook when we need to. If not, we try to, like, their breakfast is all at different times, and sometimes their breakfast might be different. We have one 93-year-old resident that faithfully does Cheerios every morning and will not eat anything else. That's something she wants only.
Cheerio.
Where you might have other family members that would be appalled by that if we only gave them one meal a day. But if that's what she wants, then that's her right. It's not because we want to serve her that. I'd rather have omelets one morning
So they
and
actually have
breakfast
variety.
sandwich the next morning, and the cereal the third morning, and oatmeal the fourth morning, and fifth morning, and homemade waffles the sixth, and, you know, French toast, and you know what I mean? It alternates, so you're not having the same meal every day. That's how I would want it done for me. But then I also have a 95-year-old resident that has Rice Krispies every night at midnight and hasn't missed a day since she's been with me for 4 years.
And in the morning I'll ask
She's
her.
95.
She loves fried eggs.
And but she's my fried egg girl, or my other 5 residents don't even want fried eggs, don't ask for them, and more or less don't eat them. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't make a poached egg for them, a fried egg for her, scrambled eggs for the other 3.
I have one she loves.
That's easy to do. But if you're making spaghetti tonight, and say 4 of them like the spaghetti other than the 2, then you try to compensate a little bit, whether it be leftovers from the night before, or you can take 2 chicken breasts out real quick and cook it in the oven while the spaghetti's on the stove. If you prepare yourself in time to know that. If, you know, like one resident of ours don't like the fish at all. Does she just fish sticks or not at all?
Not at all.
Right?
So what I do with her, like if we have leftover sloppy joes, I'll give her
Yes.
that and she'll eat it.
Yes.
Or peanut butter and jelly never fails.
Well, and you get your protein by that with the, you know, peanut butter, you know, but that'd be different if you're serving her that 3 times a
Or
night because
one
she
night
doesn't
I
like
gave
3 of the
her-
meals, then we need to
one night
step it up and give her something else.
One night she wanted oatmeal with bananas, so that's what I did.
That's awesome, actually. That
she
is
can
very
ki- She
good.
can kind of tell you. One night the girl said, I gave her salmon, she wouldn't eat it. I said, well, she likes salmon.
Yeah.
I even tried to disguise it. I said, you cannot disguise it. That woman will know. I put ketchup on it. I go, I'm sorry. But she likes pasta. I don't
Yes.
like pasta.
And some of the residents.
She loves scrambled
don't.
eggs.
So we try our best to accommodate as much as we
And
can.
I have one, they want sausage with their
Meat every morning, which is, yeah.
What is your age group?
Oh my gosh, I've never had anybody, well, now with the one,
47-year-old.
one time. Was it Alzheimer's? A head trauma, wasn't it? So we've had one 47-year-old in our home. A lot of times when you get 47s that come to you, that's usually due to a head trauma, a car accident of some sort, a tumor, to where they're, you know, profound or quadriplegic or, you know, something to that degree. That's been many years ago for that one. 60 is usually, I mean, the resident we have now, she was the youngest that I've had for like many years. It's usually been 75 and above. I've had 3 102-year-olds. I actually had Ralph Martinson. He moved in my home when he was 96, and he passed away when he was 102.
Wow.
So we had him that whole time. We moved in a resident that was 102. That was actually sat there and ate a Whopper, and she ended up passing away 3 months later in our care.
So do they all eat their meals together?
They do. Breakfast is as they come out, as they get up, as they wake. They all eat differently. Some can eat 2 at a time. Some can eat by themselves because of that. And then usually lunches together and dinners together. But with our group now, we have 3 actually that wake up late, 10:30.
Mhm.
So their brunch is usually, 10:30, 11. So their lunch wouldn't be till 1 or 2 when the other people ate at 6 and 7, want to have it at noon because they're hungry. So now with our group, it's kind of hard for them to eat all at once now again for lunch and breakfast, but dinner for sure they always do.
But sometimes the one will be hungry even though they got up later. At
Right.
noon. I'm
Right.
hungry.
And right now, I've had a lot of longevity in my home, which I've been very fortunate. Residents that have been with me for 8 years. I mean, and that's private pay, 8 years even. Mary Myers was our longest one. Russell Hawley was another 8 years.
Oh, I loved it. I danced with him in the hallways, a 2-step. He was kind of feeling bad one night.
And Hartley was 6 years, or 5, I think it was 5.
Yeah, his granddaughter's been there.
Yeah. And then right now I've had 5 years, 5 years, 4 years,
Mhm.
3 years, 2 years, 2 years and 1 year.
Yeah, we had
2 years, 2
Clarence.
years. Clarence we had for 5
He
years.
took me to
Clarence
Arizona
Hartley.
twice. I actually had a patient take me to Arizona. That was fun.
So do they do activities together?
No. And that goes back to, I don't run my home like a daycare. I don't mean it rudely in that manner. A lot of family members want that more for their loved ones than the residents themselves. I don't, and if you think about it, if you're in your own home, are you going to do bingo on Fridays? Are you going to, you do things that you would want to do if you're in your own home. Like if you're a crossword puzzle girl, I'll make sure we have got crossword puzzles for you to do. If you have dementia and you are an electrician and they want to keep him busy and active, I can find stuff for an electrician and have him do things in that manner. We had another gentleman that he worked for Minuteman Press. He was the owner of it.
Oh.
And he has severe dementia. The daughter, I wanted to get him like a copy machine, just one that didn't work or that did work so he can do things like that to keep him busy. But she mentioned the vacuum cleaner. So I went and got him a push vacuum and he would use that. I went and got him things to bowl. He liked to bowl. So I went and got him those big pins to bowl with. We have another resident that loves to blow bubbles. So she blows bubbles for her own activity because it's her choice to do. I have other residents that say just because I'm 90 doesn't mean I want to do crafts. That doesn't mean I want to sew. That doesn't mean I want to do any activities. We did have a Halloween party and we all did pumpkins. The residents did pumpkins that had smiley faces to put on them versus big carving and digging them out because it'd be too much for them.
Yeah.
Arthritis. So we did that. We have parties. We have their birthday parties we do for them. We do barbecues, probably not as often as we should, but we do them.
And they like their hot dogs black.
And if I had residents that move in that they're saying, I really want my mom to do this once a month, or if I want it, it's hard to sit there and say, well, my group don't want to do a group thing. The ones that do, then we'll definitely have them do it. But pretty much like, my residents an iPad. And it's really hard because when my 95-year-old's looking at my 70-year-old saying, why is she blowing bubbles? It's kind of hard to relate with that age to this age to that age to this demeanor and intermix them. It's, the Golden Girls is one thing, you know what I mean? That is, it's really hard, So the activities are there. It's just trying to do it more personable with them and make it more like us doing it with them if we needed to, or if we can get 3 residents to do it, great. Or, if a resident played cribbage and I knew somebody else out of my family members, or hopefully their family would come in and play cribbage with them. It'd be no different, We've done Yahtzee a couple times with some residents that like Yahtzee. So we just try our best to give them companionship and keep their minds going by what's going on for this day and age, and whether it be what they used to do for a living, keeping them.
They like it when you do that. We talked about they do for a living.
Yeah.
Especially the one I knew she was a librarian.
Yeah. Our other resident, Charlotte, we've had her for 6 years too. We just lost her last December. She was a mail carrier for 30 something years.
Yeah, she had her own pet cow.
Yeah, Betsy. And she got a letter from the state or president for her time for the working for probably the U.S. Postal, the U.S. government type of a thing. So we had that on her wall.
She loved it when I would sing to her, "You Are My Sunshine." She even sang with me perfect.
Even at the end.
Yep. Even at the end.
Awesome.
She went out gracefully.
Because they like it when you sing to them. I have one, I read all of her cards to her because she don't make them look at them.
So even my group now, we've
Or
had a
letters.
long time. It's been very,
Or they can't see the
Very
letters, I
blessed
read
for
it to
that.
them. Or they'll say, "Tell me about you." So I'll start talking about myself a little bit, and then they'll talk about themselves because sometimes they get lonely. They just want a friend to talk to.
exactly.
When they're down.
And that's what we're there
comfortable.
for the caregiving aspect of it too, not just the other parts.
If I have time, I'll be sitting there for a half hour just talking to the one from North Dakota.
Yeah.
How cold it got and how they had to grow stuff. She was an old farmer.
And that's what they remember.
I've been out there a few times and I've enjoyed talking to them.
Good, I'm glad. I'm glad.
My mom gave me coffee when I was a child. I go, "That's why you like coffee 24/7."
Now, do most of them have family come and see them, or?
Most of them do. We have one lady that her daughter lives in Virginia, so she
Wow.
gets friends that come and see her.
Yep.
She actually had 2 ladies that came and saw her yesterday on her birthday.
Got you today too.
Yeah, and then my 95-year-old resident, her son comes faithfully a week. And then we have another resident where her daughter was in every day, but she's a snowbird, so she goes now that she knows her mom's well taken care of. She can honestly go and not worry. She tells us that all the time.
She calls and checks in.
Calls and checks in. And they'll be back December 2nd, and they'll stay for I think a month or whatever they do, and then go back, and then they're here, during our whole summer usually. So I mean,
She says, "It's nice that I can get away and know my mom's okay."
makes it very nice.
Her mom's kind of sassy, but I love her.
And then we have
You wanna
another
get up?
resident
No!
that has had no children. Husband passed away 5 years ago, but she has plenty of POAs, 5 of them, all from from churches. They're her churches, and she has a lot of friends for her family. And then our other resident had her husband pass away a year ago, and that was her only next to kin in her eyes. So now pretty much Laurel and I have been her family. And she's been with me for 4 years.
Wow.
So, but yeah, we've had half and half. You got some family members don't come in that often and are more gruffier and stern, and the ones that come in more often see what you do, see what you're going through, respect you more, I feel. So it makes it nicer that they come in more, to be honest. I want them to come in. I want them to oversee. I want them to watch.
They don't go to visit. We had to put my mom in a nursing home. She didn't want to go, but we didn't have a choice because we all
Yes,
worked. And we
exactly.
tried to get her into one of those adult, I was telling Laurel, adult foster homes, just because the nursing homes are nasty.
They are.
But they wouldn't take her because she had dementia. It wasn't severe, but it was dementia. And she was,
Probably needed to be in the
she needed the
lockdown
shot.
unit.
They'd have to keep a nurse on duty to give her the shot, and she wasn't capable of doing it herself. So they would have had to call us, and we couldn't just drop everything and,
Just to run to do it.
like close my doors
Yeah.
and run. So we ended up putting her in a nursing home, and it was just horrible,
It is.
absolutely horrible.
It
The
is.
food, I told them out now one day, I said, "You know what, I do not feed that up to my dog." So I took her meals, and she was there for 14 months, and I was there every single night. As soon as I closed up, I was there. I missed one night, and I baked sugar-free pies and yogurt, take it over every night for anybody that wanted it,
Yes.
Why
And
did
it's
you
sad
cry?
how many people just drop their relatives off and never go back, just never go back.
Did it turn out?
And it's, I just don't know how they do
Ever
that.
used your
I
flash
think,
at
I
one
think,
time?
whoop.
Some family members, I do understand at times when it's hard for them to come and they're no longer their mother or no longer their father and they don't remember. Believe me, I try to respect them,
Mhm.
but it is hard for me to say they're still their soul,
Exactly.
their body.
And they know.
They know.
I know where my mom was at, there was this one lady, and she'd sit at the window when we first took mom over there, and she'd just cry and cry and cry. And I asked one of them, I said, what is going on here? And they said that her kids had dropped her off like 2 years ago, and they never came back, and she just sits in the window and waits for them to come back. And whenever there's a holiday, they send her a bouquet of flowers, but what is that?
What's that?
What is that?
Yeah.
You know?
I have one to tell you.
I could never have done that. I don't care how far,
Agree.
but my mom never got to the point, which I tried to prepare myself, that she wouldn't remember me one day when I went in, but
Right.
it never got to that point. Which is kind of.
I had a lady one time, she read in the paper where her family had sold her home and everything, and she cried and she asked me, what do I do, Laurel? I said, well, it's none of my business, honey, but I would change your will and give all the money to
Charity.
charity.
Right.
That's what she
So
did.
they-
She gave all her money to charity. When she died, they were all upset. We didn't even die. I just
Or
said,
to
or
her
just kept walking by.
Or-
Yeah.
Now, she asked me my advice. I didn't interfere. I just said, that's what I would do.
Right.
Then I had one guy, he had me sing In the Garden to him before he passed away. And I don't know if Candace
Oh,
remembers Sigh. He sighed. He was sitting up in his bed, an older guy. He was from a foreign country. Anyway, I held his hand when I got the last verse. His daughter showed up and said, "Are you gonna wait for your daughter?" No. I sang to him, and then he passed after I got done singing.
I could never.
See, I do stuff like that.
Yeah.
He says, "Could you sing the song to me?" His daughter showed up, and
And what I mean by that a little bit, like for my one resident, even though I do what I do and I can be through any death and deal with it. You know what I mean? But when you're close to somebody and you're close to that resident, sometimes you just don't want to remember the end part of it. You want to remember the other part. So there's been 2 times in my home that it was hard for me to go and do the last end of
It's a
it.
special type of person to do what you guys do too.
So,
It's like,
but I felt guilty about it. Like I wanted to be there at the end. I was at the end. I had him that whole time. But
Well,
sometimes it's
remember-
hard to sit at the end and watch
remember
the
that
end.
time you shared with them and how good the care you gave them.
I agree.
You were there for them,
I was.
probably more than their family.
I agree. Well, you know how. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Imagine you're on a cruise with a lady, and the last day she passes away before you get off the boat. Well, we had a blast. That's what I remember. And she told me, I'm not going back to that nursing home. And she had the best time.
Yes.
Well, she got her wish.
lunch break.
She was like, what'd you do?
I know, right?
It was hairy, but I made it through.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Heidi, for
You're welcome.
coming to the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
No problem,
I was
anytime.
glad you came.
Yes, thank you too.
Well, good night for live from Longview. We'll see you all next week with who?
Ron Feller.
With Ron Fowler.
Good night.
Good night.
From Seattle.
Nice.
Wow.
Is that who you guys went up there to see?